Hello, Viking fans. Welcome to this week's edition of Viking Talk with Josh Morgan. I'm Brandon Davis, and glad to have with me the man of the hour, Josh Morgan. Coach, good to see you.
You too, Brandon.
A great division opening win last Friday night, 27-6 win over Ridgeland. Had a chance to review the film. Give us your overview of the game.
Well, like you said, we're 1-0 in the district, and we're proud of that. I thought our defense played, really well for 4 quarters, and very proud of them being disciplined and their jobs and everybody doing their part. And Ridgeland, we talked about it last week that their quarterback that they had was really elusive, and he got loose on us one time. But other than that, I really thought we played hard, and I thought we played good assignment football and gave ourselves a chance to win. And we needed that effort. It took us a while to get going offensively, and but our defense was the best consistent unit on the field, and so very pleased with them. Offense, we came out a little rusty, and I kind of felt like it took us a little bit to get our feet up under us. We were able to run the football, which was good for us, and they ended up stacking several in the box, and we were still able to run the ball and be efficient, and thought Aiden and EJ ran really hard. And so very pleased with getting out of there and with a win, but not necessarily pleased in our overall effort, especially offensively. Is we're trying to come out and be sharp and play a high level for 4 quarters, and I don't think we did that, and we've got to do a better job with that.
Well, you talked about that defensive approach against a wing T offense. You don't see that often. Again, you talked about it last week. You had your offensive coordinator, your brother Rob Morgan, scout quarterback, so it's tough to plan for that, but a great defensive effort, especially from defensive tackle TK Qualls. Coach, he looked like he was unblockable all night long.
When you pull, and when you pull a lot, which the wing T does, we were trying to put TK in those situations where they're having to block down on him or not knowing where they were and trying to trap him and things like that. And TK is one of the most disruptive players in the state, and he's got a knack for it. He's got a great get off. He's hard to block. He's got a high motor, and I think as a team we had close to 17, 18 tackles for losses, and that's incredible playing the wing T. So yes, he was a destructive force and played hard, and they didn't have an answer for him. And again, our defensive line is really good. They're starting to come along and really be dominant like we hoped they would be, and very pleased with them.
Well, 12 tackles for loss in the first half, 17 in the game. You also had a chance to play some of the younger kids toward the end of the ball game. I know that made you happy to build into that.
So got some guys in. Weren't able to move the ball offensively with our twos, but defensively they got a lot of good reps as well. And Ridgeland got down in the red zone on the final drive, and we made a decision to leave them in there and we made a big 4th down stop to stop the drive right toward the end of the game, which was, those experiences is what makes you and builds you. And again, so very pleased with them. Thought we tackled well, and knew again it's not just about the first 11 knowing what to do. You got to be prepared, and those guys came in and kept with the game plan. So that was really good to see too.
Yeah, so you talked about the offense. We went in leading 7-6 at the half, but you talked about you had to make some adjustments. Made some really good adjustments, 20 points in the second half with this offense running the ball very effectively. Talk about the adjustments you and the staff had to make with the offense.
Well, we had some issues with our snap. That we were kind of being inconsistent with our snaps. We were trying to come in, and we had a game plan that we wanted to see ourselves throw the ball a little bit more, and felt like we had some plays in the passing game. And I thought we held the ball too long. Thought Nash held the ball in certain instances too long. Trying not to make mistakes. You can't play the game that way. Trying to be too cautious with the ball, and there's a difference between taking care of the football, making the right plays, don't put us in bad situations, but also playing the position. It's a fine line. You got to have a confidence in yourself and your guys, and it's got to be on time, and that was what was missing. And if we can get that, it sure is going to make us a better football team. And so we went with a heavy dose of the run game the second half, and really leaned on our backs and our O-line, and I thought we blocked well and ran hard and no turnovers. So that was Again, defense did a really good job. Offense came through, and I think we wore them down toward the end and was really efficient in the run game. Got to do a better job in the passing game.
Well, a very good win for us, like you said. Most importantly, open division play at 1-0. Other good news we got last week: learned Maddox Lynch, Ronnie Blossom, both going to earn a spot on the Al Miss All-Star Game. Coach, a huge honor for those kids, their families, our program. But we're starting to see a trend where our kids are having a chance to play in an All-Star Game on a yearly basis. That's good news for our program.
Yes, anytime we get representation in those games, they represent us, their families, themselves, and again, when we send them down there, the first thing we tell them is they're representing us and how they act and how they carry themselves, how they work, how they perform and play. Last year, carrying such great compliments on Julian Denby and Garrett Orgus and Bo Davis, and then the years before them, and word gets around, and the coaching. The coaching fraternity there is really tight, and they know, and we'll be proud to send those two down there. Very well deserving, very proud of them. It felt like we had some more guys that should have been on those as well, but that's stuff that's out of our control. But very, very, very proud of them. We know that they'll represent us all well.
Yeah, proud of both those kids. Like I said, we had several others deserving, but very proud of Maddox and Ronnie for that honor. Some will take with them for the rest of their lives. This is Viking Talk, visiting with Josh Morgan. Coach, this week, a chance to go 2-0 when we take on Vicksburg. What can you tell us about the Gators?
Well, it's a team that's big and athletic and physical, and they can run, and probably one of the bigger teams that we've seen. Got really good size. They do a lot of different things that we've seen defensively that we've got to be ready for. They've shown different fronts, and so we've got to be ready to block different fronts, and we've got to do a good job of recognizing that. And then offensively, you got two really good backs that they've been leaning on, and they want to be a run-first type of team and use those, and rightfully so, two really good backs. So it's a game that we've got to be ready for obvious reasons, and we've got to make sure our guys are prepared and ready to go, and we're ready and be ready to get their very best shot, because that's the type of game that it is.
Well, you talked about the offense. They have struggled this season. They're only averaging 12 points per game thus far, but it's a very talented group, a big offensive line, like you said. It may be one of the more dynamic groups of backs with the Corey Knight and Sid Blackmore we've seen this season.
Yeah, they a lot of times backs can make things look a certain way, and what I mean by that is that they're running a lot of zone, outside zone, stretch plays, and those backs can make you right, and with the cuts and the vision that they see, and so got really good vision. Two different types of backs, one's shifty, and another one's a bigger back that runs a little more physical, and so they're very, very good. Been playing them a couple years now, and so we know what we've got to do, and we got to do a good job of getting a lot of hats to the football.
Defensively, they're yielding 21 points a game. I think that's kind of misleading, Coach, because they have a lot of speed. What have you and Coach Rob Morgan have seen when you're studying this bunch?
Yeah, they're gonna be aggressive. They're gonna get to the ball. They run to the ball well. They're gonna do a good job. They're big up front, and you're not gonna just push them around. Got big bodies there. Got really talented, rangy type players. And again, we're expecting one of those games, like it is all the time, where it's just a lot of you don't get many plays off. Everybody's running to the ball hard. Everybody's playing extremely hard, and we think this will be no different than that. And so we've got to make sure we get hats on a hat and get a good push and taking care of the football, and then we've got to be consistent with it.
Well, the past two seasons, the games have been decided by a total of 3 points. It seemed like we've been our own worst enemy in those games, Coach. You look back on past film, block kick for a touchdown, kick returns, pick six last season. Has there been any special emphasis this week on trying to eliminate those type of plays and be more consistent in our game?
Yes, it's and we've talked about that a lot. And again, it's the difference between talking about it and doing something about it. But you're right. It was blocked field goal last year that ended up not taking points off the board and them scoring with it, a 10-point swing. 2 years before that was a kickoff return and a block punt, got them down inside the red zone. You know, and so those things that you're talking about are things that we've got to do a better job at. We hang our hat on our special teams, and we spend a lot of time with it. Again, Vicksburg has good players, and those guys are selling out, trying to win the game too. So it's one of those games where, you know, every play is going to count, and you don't know when that play is going to be the play that swings the game. But the last couple of years, it's been huge momentum swingers, and we've had to fight and claw back and to keep our head above the water, which we've done a good job of, and we've been able to keep our composure, and so we've got to do a good job of that, not letting it come down to the last possession, last drive, and cleaning that stuff up for sure.
You talked about it. We talked about it a lot. Special teams can win you a ball game. It can lose you a ball game. Those hidden yards there. The hidden yards is going to be something that's probably pretty imperative that we win this Friday night.
You know, it's one of those where we're banking on, man. We feel like we've got good kickers. You know that. We've talked about it. But on the flip side of that, they have a good return game, a kickoff return, punt return. I think they've had several touchdowns in the return game. They do a good job coming after your kicks and blocking kicks and things like that. So we've got to be ready for that. We've got to be able to execute, and those hidden yards, like you talked about, are going to be important, especially early on.
Oh, this is a rivalry game. We all know that. Records don't mean a thing. Throw them out the window. Vicksburg hasn't won a game. It's sitting at 500, but that doesn't really mean anything this week. Coach, how do you keep your team focused on the task at hand, knowing what the records are?
Well, you can't afford not to be ready, and you can't afford not to be ready. And whatever their record is, that has nothing to do with this game, and we have to understand that. We also have to understand the consequences if we're not ready to play. So that's, lay that out for them on a Monday. Talk about our goals and our visions and how important it is for us to win this game for our postseason goals. Then we talk about whatever happens Friday night. We're going to have to live with that for a year.
Wow, yeah.
And we're going to have to live with that. And so we can be immature about things, naive about things, or we can be businesslike and understand that we're going to get their very best game that they play. We need to make sure that we're ready to go and play our very best game. And like I always told them, it's very important that you respect your opponent, no matter what the record is. And I think they understand the importance of that and how much is riding on this. And so I think we've and our guys understand it. They know that it's going to be a really competitive ball game.
You've been a part of this rivalry your entire life as a water boy for your dad, a towel boy for your dad, a player, now a coach. What makes this rivalry so unique for you?
I can tell you this, that I enjoy playing in them a lot better than I do coaching in them. As a player, you feel like you can do certain things for it. Coach, you got to prepare your guys, and then they got to go handle business, and then you got to live with whatever happens. And it's a game that unless you've been in it, you don't understand it. The atmosphere is different. It's a very tense atmosphere, especially early on in the ball games. It's a tight type of feeling that we have to guard ourselves from. A lot of that stuff is brought on from outside noise and from outside expectations, and if you can slow things down, and it's what we talk about all the time. You just focus on what we're supposed to be doing. All right, and get focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, how we're doing it, what's the game plan, and then, hit the restart button and do it again. But if you get caught up in what's going on around you, or what happens if this, if, and you let all that go, get around you, and also if you're not ready to play for 4 quarters, you can't play 1 or 2 quarters. You can't ride one big high, and you got to stay even keel. You got to stay laser-like, locked in, and you got to understand that our job is to play the game, and nothing else. And our job is to play the game and understand how to win, and that's what we're focused on. And I've learned that over the years that you can't get caught up in anything else. Fans are going to be fans, cheerleaders are going to cheer, bands are going to play. Our job is to go play at a high level and do our jobs.
you have to make sure that, you talk about that as a player, as a coaching staff too. I imagine the same type of emotions are with you as a coaching staff, so you've got to try to be level-headed as well.
No doubt. You have to do that, but also you're having to prepare 90 boys for what's coming. And the thing about it is our staff has been a part of it, and we understand it. If we haven't played, if our coaches haven't played in it, they've been in it long enough to understand that that's our number one job. That's different than this game is we've got to keep our guys focused on the task at hand, and to go to the next play and have a short memory. And it's got to keep your poise and make sure that you understand what you want to do, so situations don't dictate decisions.
It's unique for me. I'm not from here. I guess I'm a carpetbagger. I come into this rivalry, but it's unique because we go to church with these people. We go to the grocery store with these people. We're friends with them. We'll hang out with them after the ball game. So it's a unique rivalry, I guess you would say, that you've got to put all that stuff aside for those 4 quarters.
Yeah, and it's also unique because it's different to other people. Some folks are just diehard, Orange Central or Vicksburg. You also have 2 old schools that have a lot of history. I grew up in the era. There was a time where we were number 1 and 2 in the state. And there was so much riding on that game, but you got people who it's just a little bit different for everybody, but everybody understands it, and it's our game, it's our community's game, and it's always been a good atmosphere. What an experience for guys to be a part of. I know our guys enjoy it. You get a packed house. You got a lot of riding on the game, and you got a lot of folks pulling for you, and they'll feel pressure. And but what a great experience and a game to be a part of.
Certainly a privilege to be a part of it. I've enjoyed it my past 15 years. But Coach, let's talk about our team again. The injuries. We've looked pretty well, like coming out of the Richland game. Any injuries we need to be concerned with?
Brandon, we've got everybody back. It's the first time all year that everybody is back. Been very blessed in that area. I'm very thankful. So we've got everybody healthy and well, and I hope and pray that we can stay that way, but that aspect looks really good.
How's practice been this week?
Good week. It's a good week. You don't have to get their attention, don't have to prod them here, and our biggest thing was make sure that we're ready and that we're doing what we're supposed to do, and we're trying to win Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and trust our preparation and what we've done, trust our game plan, really work at that, so we'll have a great deal of confidence come game day, and we've had a really good week.
All right, Coach, well, a final question we always have, what's going to be the keys to victory to not only get this second division win, so important as we go toward another division championship, but beating this Vicksburg bunch?
What would be very helpful, a key to it, is starting fast. The game is such about momentum. And we'll be after it first, and we want that. Those first 5 minutes, it really dictates the kind of the flow of the game, and that's important. Who gets that momentum, and then what do you do with it? Do you keep it, or are you able to snatch it from them if they have it, or when they get it? And so momentum is huge in this game, and I can vividly remember games in the past. If you can't overcome that first woof, then it's a snowball effect, and we also got to be ready to respond. So talking about yes, basic fundamentals, taking care of the football. We want to run the football. We must do those things. We got to be great special teams and really protect our kickers. But the team that's built and their culture provides them to be able to take momentum, but to also be able to respond when the other team has the momentum to deal with that flow. It's really important in this game, and we've got to do a really good job taking care of the football and being our identity. We're still trying to play our best game. I don't think we've done that yet. What a game it would be to put that out there and to play our very best for 4 quarters, and that's what we're after, is our very best. So I think momentum and poise and understanding how to deal with that is going to be really important in this game, Brandon.
Well, I'm excited about it, Coach. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, me too.
We will talk to you next week about the results, and hopefully we have some good news. But before we leave, I want to mention something, a very, very special event that's going to be taking place next week before we play in the Neshoba Central. 60 years of Viking football, Coach. That's pretty amazing.
It is amazing.
Yep, we're going to have a lot of people. I think we have 200 people so far that's reserved to be here for that. We're going to have some festivities before the game. We'll have some during halftime. But 60 years of Viking football, we're going to recognize next week in the Neshoba Central. If you are a former Viking and you haven't signed up on our Facebook page, there is a link where you can go and sign up and RSVP. We want you to come home and see us. We're going to make a special night for you. Then we're going to play a great game against Neshoba. That's going to be a good team.
It ought to be a fantastic night. We're looking forward to it, and we're going to do our very best to honor our former team, former players, former coaches the best way that we can. Recognize champions, Little Dixie champions, and state champions. Old coaches coming back, and looking for a really good night right there, and then got a huge game with Neshoba. So hopefully it'll be one of those nights that we'll remember for a long time.
It's going to be a special night here at Viking Stadium, so I hope you can make it out to that. But before that, we got some work to do this week. We got to go take care of Vicksburg. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about the Vicksburg game, then we'll look ahead to Neshoba as we continue to go in to this deep region run. But for now, that's going to do it for this week. He's Josh Morgan. I'm Brandon Davis. We'll see you next week. But until then, rise up, Vikings.